As some of you might know, this is a A3 Cummins, and what it is being test fitted into this truck. This is a 1974 Ford F-750 that I'm building a haul truck out of, but any of you that are new to this series, I'm just showing you this because I'm going to take you over and kind of show you an intake manifold that I'm building for it. But anyways, welcome to another shop update. So we're back over here to the bench, and this is going to be the mold, or this is the mold that is going to be used to fabricate the intake manifold for that A3 Cummins out of carbon fiber and Kevlar. What it is going to do is replace this old intake manifold, which is very inefficient and restrictive into the airflow into that Cummins engine. The Cummins engine was a 96 model 8.3, so it's a mechanical P pump on it, which you probably saw from that. In my last shop update, I had talked about fabricating some things for it, and I just wanted to kind of update that. Now, I'm not updating it as in the series. There's a series about building this this intake, and I'm going to continue that series, but I've been doing a couple of things, and I just kind of wanted to bring you up to date with it. I've made this, and what this is going to be is the drill template for when the flange is fabricated for the bottom of this air intake. I'm not going to be able to mold the bolt holes through the flange of it into the thing. So what I will do is use this template to lay over the flange after it's fabricated out of Kevlar and carbon fiber, and use the template to drill the holes in the flange. But I just wanted to explain that to you because I had mentioned it in the last shop update. As I take you around the shop, you're going to probably notice this. This isn't mine. Snowmobile trailer. It actually belongs to a friend of my grandson's, and it's just in here getting repaired. He got some kind of a super deal on a couple of old style snowmobiles, and picked up this trailer along with it to haul them, but trailer definitely needs some work. I had discussed in other videos about me getting a dumpster in here and trying cleaning up the shop. Now, I'm going to maybe try and post a picture of this area or put a clip in here about making the dunnage rack for the International. I have gotten absolutely nowhere with that. Yeah. But what I did maybe previous videos, but what we've done is clean this up. There was a lot of scrap underneath the welding table here on the floor from probably a good year of not cleaning it up. Cleaning up the dross, or cleaning up the dross that had dropped on the floor, the metal filings, the slag and everything else that had dropped on the floor. So we had got this area cleaned up, and there was that rack that had all of the metal in it, and it was so disorganized, and kind of was out here farther into the bay too. So let me take you over by the haul truck and show you what our intention is here. We had this rack over here by the haul truck, and kind of behind my toolbox, that I had a lot of pipes and a lot of miscellaneous stuff on. What we're kind of thinking about doing is taking this rack and putting it over by the welding table in place of that other rack that's over there right now, since it's larger and has more area to kind of distribute everything. The problem with that other one was that everything got kind of piled into the same rack, and you had to dig through stuff to try and find out what was there, or try to get at a piece that was in the back. You would be pulling out plate to get at tube steel, and moving tube steel to find pipe and everything else. But this rack was kind of sitting over here by the haul truck, and it had a bunch of junk on it, and I'll kind of show it to you now. We've taken that off. Originally we were going to maybe cut this rack down and add half of it to that other rack in front, but now we're thinking about just taking that rack out and putting this one in its place. And here is kind of all that stuff that was piled into the rack. There were some other things that I didn't show you. There's that brace, that A-frame brace up there was in there. This piping was all in there. All of this stuff was in that rack, and now it'll be put over at the other area. But again, let me take you over by the welding table and show that to you. Just so you know, this is all metal scrap that's got to go to the scrap yard. But anyways, yeah, so what we're thinking about doing is bringing that rack by the haul truck back here and putting that up there, or putting it in place of this one, and just I'd probably cut this one up. Those pieces of angle iron back there are what I had cut up before from other racks that I didn't need and just wanted the scrap metal out of to build things and do things like that. So I'm not sure. I mean, the last video clip that I shot was a couple of days ago, maybe half a week ago. So I'm not sure if I showed you whether I had removed this stand here, this rack that was in the back where it held the piping, but that's gone now, and this is the space that's left open by it. I'll take you over and show you what we have done over by the welding table. Okay, so here we are over by the welding table. This is an end frame that was setting up against the rack in the back, and it's going to be cut up. We started the process, but we're out of gas, so it's going to be cut up and scrapped. This thing I'll explain in a minute. This is the old rack that used to hold the metal here by the welding table. And we have not cut that up and scrapped it yet because we are thinking about utilizing it for something else. But I'll explain that later when we figure out if we are going to do it. But here is the rack that was in the back, now in the front, and loaded with material. There used to be a whole bunch of bins of, not bins, what they were are drawers that we had taken out of a cabinet, drawers full of drops and stuff like that, some old scrap wood stuff and things like that back here. We removed all of that and have got this loaded in here now, with the stuff in the back being the least commonly used, and odd miscellaneous items that really aren't metal or stuff like that are kind of tucked over there in the corner. But here is that rack, and yeah, I'm happy with it. So what this thing is going to be, I had this laying around. I think it was like a skid for a toolbox. The toolbox that I have in back, and I'll show it to you in a minute, but I think just a brief clip here. This is that toolbox that I was talking about that came in on that skid. I've shown this in other shop updates and videos before, but this is that toolbox that I was talking about that came in on that way it was skid packaged when it was shipped on this thing. I had bought this at an auction, bought that toolbox at an auction, and it was never assembled. It was still on the original skid, and I think this was the skid. What I'm going to do with this is making a spot for sheet metal plates or expanded metal like is sitting there, and it's that thing fits into here. I'm going to put it in here and put like the drops of sheet metal, expanded metal, sheet metal that I have is going to go into this rack kind of so that it sits upright. And the edges off the floor and onto this thing. And here is that rack with the drops of expanded metal and sheet metal in it, tucked into the center of the rack that holds the other material. But anyways, it's coming. We're making some progress, and it just takes time. We've got to kind of work around us doing other things, my grandson doing other things, and but we're getting to it, and it's going to take time. Okay, so I'm going to start to rewind this video down. As you can see, this is probably weeks later after I shot that last clip. That other rack, the old rack, is still there, and let me kind of show it to you, and then I'm going to take you over and kind of show you what our thought about utilizing it is, and I'll bring you right back. Okay, I'm kind of over on the other side of the shop now, and we've got a bunch of stuff crammed in here because, again, we're cleaning up, and I've got the scissors lift in here, just storing it for the winter for the landlord. But anyways, what I'm kind of showing you is there's that LS engine over there that I had pulled out of an old pickup truck of mine. It's a 6-liter LS engine, and my intention was to build it. But what we were thinking about doing is cutting that rack down and being able to put stuff on it, like the engine. The pallet would go up on the rack shelf. We would re-support that rack shelf. All of that scaffold that belongs to my grandson would go up there, kind of into this spot. These are the tires off of the 1066, which will be going back on it once I get that thing back together. But we would like to utilize that rack to hold some of this stuff that's kind of in the way, get it organized and get it up there. But anyways, that's going to do it for this shop update. I just kind of wanted to bring you up to date on what we were doing. I've been traveling a lot, and between that and my grandson working, it's been a long process of trying to get this shop cleaned up and organized and some of this junk out of here. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe.